Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. This time, we're taking a look at self-directed and collaborative learning.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, and how basically, anyone can take learning into their own hands.
Right.
We found this really cool conference from 2011 held in Singapore,
Okay.
all about open educational resources and open source physics.
Interesting combination.
Yeah, and get this, we'll even learn about folding a paper heart today from the conference.
Sounds a little strange, I'll admit.
Yeah, but it actually shows how hands-on learning can really work.
I'm intrigued.
So first things first,
Right.
what even is self-directed learning?
Well, there's a website actually called selfdirectedlearning.com.
Okay.
And they say it's basically a process where they take the initiative, take responsibility for their own learning.
So you choose when you learn, what you learn, how you learn.
Exactly. Instead of like a traditional classroom where the teacher decides everything.
Right. So it's all about like you being in charge. You're the architect
Yes.
of your own learning journey.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So how does collaborative learning fit in then?
Okay. So collaborative learning, that's about working together in groups
Right.
to understand things better and reach those shared goals.
Okay.
And our source actually says synergistic collaboration among learners where 1 + 1 is greater than 2.
So it's not just dividing up tasks, but creating something better together.
Yeah, much better. Yeah.
Could you give me an example of what that synergistic collaboration looks like?
Okay, so imagine like a brainstorming session, where
Okay.
everyone's throwing out ideas.
Sure.
That interaction, it creates sparks, new insights.
Right.
That wouldn't happen if you're just working alone,
That makes sense, yeah.
So you bounce ideas back and forth, build on what each other is saying, and you end up with something much more comprehensive,
Interesting.
much more innovative.
So going back to the paper heart, how does that activity show all of this?
Well, at the conference, they gave people a limited time to fold this heart.
Okay.
They could use anything, even the internet, to figure it out.
So that's self-directed right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the actual folding part, a lot of people did it in groups, trying different things.
I like it.
Encouraging collaboration.
And actually, we've got a link to a really cool YouTube video
Oh, nice.
that shows how to do it.
Awesome.
So anyone listening can try it out too.
That's great.
So it's pretty amazing how something simple like folding a paper heart can demonstrate these bigger ideas, right?
Absolutely.
How could we take this kind of hands-on activity and use it in other places, like even in a professional setting?
Yeah, that is a really good question. Think about your own field for a second.
Okay.
Could you come up with an activity, something hands-on, that makes people search for info on their own and then work together
Okay.
to solve a problem or create something completely new?
I see what you're saying.
It could be anything, really, like a mock product design challenge
Yeah.
or even a group research project.
Yeah.
The important thing is to make an environment where people feel comfortable.
Right. They feel empowered to take charge of their learning.
Exactly, yeah. And they get the benefit of all those different viewpoints from the group.
I like that a lot.
That's powerful.
So we found this article from SDLarticles.com, and it lists all these benefits
Okay.
of self-directed learning.
Yeah.
And one that really stands out to me is that you get to pick what you learn about.
Right.
You don't have to trudge through something that doesn't interest you.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's all curated by you.
Yeah. Think about it. This could be your chance to finally learn about topic relevant to listener
Oh, yeah.
without being stuck with some boring curriculum.
Exactly.
It's all tailored to you, your interests, your goals.
It makes the whole process way more engaging, more efficient, right?
For sure.
It's really about lining up your learning with your passions.
Yeah.
You're not just checking boxes. You're actively looking for knowledge that
Yeah.
excites you.
Absolutely.
What other benefits stood out to you?
Well, setting your own pace is a big one.
Oh, yeah.
No more rushing, no more feeling held back.
Right.
You learn at a speed that works for you.
Especially these days when things move so fast.
It makes a world of difference, yeah.
Yeah, it's all about making learning fit into your life.
Yes.
Instead of it being another thing you have to do.
It shouldn't be another chore.
Yeah, instead of feeling pressured, you can take your time, really understand.
Exactly. Absorb the information.
Yeah.
And, the article also talked about learning with passion.
Oh, right.
When you choose your own topics, you're naturally more interested,
Of course.
more motivated, and that leads to a much deeper understanding.
And a feeling of accomplishment too, right?
Yes, definitely. A real sense of accomplishment.
I can definitely see how that would make learning way more enjoyable and rewarding.
It should be enjoyable.
It's about remembering what it feels like to enjoy learning,
Yeah.
That feeling of, aha, I get it, when something finally clicks.
I love that feeling.
Me too. And that sense of accomplishment that can push you even further.
It's a great motivator, yeah. Yeah, it's like turning learning into this big adventure
Oh, I like that.
where you decide where to go, what to see.
Yeah, picking your own path.
Exactly. And along the way, you might find these hidden gems.
Right, things you wouldn't have found on the usual route.
Exactly.
But wouldn't all this freedom require, a certain amount of discipline?
There's a good point.
Self-motivation to actually stay on track.
You're absolutely right.
Because it's easy to get sidetracked when you're making your own path, right?
It is, yeah. And self-directed learning, it's not just a free-for-all.
Right.
You need some skills, some key characteristics.
Okay.
And our source, actually, they pull from those presentation slides from that conference in Singapore.
Right.
They highlight 3 big ones:
Okay, let's hear them.
ownership of learning, self-management, and then extending learning beyond those formal settings.
Okay, break those down for me. What does ownership of learning actually mean?
It means you're responsible for your own learning journey.
So you set your own goals.
You set goals, you're proactive,
Yeah.
you look for resources, and you're accountable for how much progress you make.
So it's not just about going through the motions because someone said you have to.
No, it's about being driven by that desire to learn.
I see. You're not just passively absorbing info, you're actively participating.
Yes, you become the driver.
Not the passenger.
Exactly. And that takes us to the next one, self-management.
Okay.
That's things like time management, organization, staying focused.
Especially with all the distractions these days.
Tons of them.
Yeah.
It's like you're your own project manager.
Right. Setting deadlines, breaking down tasks,
You got it.
holding yourself accountable.
That's the key.
Are there any good tips, any strategies to help with all that?
Oh, absolutely. There's so much out there, online, offline. Tips for managing time, getting organized.
Right.
Some people love using calendars, to-do lists, those productivity apps.
Yeah, this can be helpful.
Others prefer, like, a physical planner.
Yeah, the old school way.
Yeah. Or even just having a dedicated workspace.
Right, a place where you can focus.
The trick is finding what works for you
Yeah, find your system.
and then stick with it.
Makes sense. So it's about creating that structure
Mm-hmm.
that supports your self-directed learning.
Yes, even when you're choosing your own content and pace.
Okay, and the last one was extending learning beyond formal settings.
Yes.
What does that even look like?
This is where it gets exciting.
Okay, tell me more.
It means learning isn't stuck in classrooms, textbooks.
Ew, I like that.
It's about being curious, finding learning everywhere you go.
So like reading articles, watching documentaries.
Yes, listening to podcasts, going to workshops.
Right, talking to people with different experiences.
Absolutely. All of that is valuable.
It's like constantly learning, always open to new ideas.
Exactly. A mindset of always learning.
That's powerful. We've been focusing a lot on self-directed learning, but our source also mentions collaboration.
Yeah.
How do those two work together?
That's a great question. Some people think they clash.
Right, like they're opposites.
But they actually work really well together.
Okay, explain that.
You can be self-directed in your goals, but also really benefit from working with others.
People with the same interest or expertise you need.
Exactly. So it's not about doing it all alone.
But knowing when to reach out, get support, guidance.
Different perspectives. Yeah, it's like a feedback loop.
I see what you mean. So you start exploring on your own, but then you connect with others for feedback.
To challenge what you think, to refine your understanding.
It's like bouncing your ideas off someone.
Yes, getting a fresh perspective.
And that brings us back to synergistic collaboration.
It does, yeah.
When you have a group of people who love learning,
Passionate about it.
eager to share,
That's when the magic happens.
it's more than just individual learning.
It leads to outcomes you wouldn't get on your own.
That's inspiring, but wouldn't the collaborators need certain skills too?
Absolutely. Our source talks about strong group processes
Okay.
and a sense of shared accountability.
So it's not just about being in a group, it's about being a real team.
Yes, a high-functioning team.
What does that look like?
It means open communication. Everyone listens to each other.
Respectful debate.
Yes, and if there's conflict, you resolve it.
And you make decisions together.
It's about creating a safe space to share, even if your ideas are different.
So it's about trust and respect.
Everyone feels valued.
What about shared accountability?
That means everyone feels responsible for the group's success,
Okay.
working towards the same goal, supporting each other.
So everyone is invested in the outcome.
Exactly. They're engaged, motivated to do their part.
Like that saying, teamwork makes the dream work.
I love that one.
But how do we make sure everyone is pulling their weight?
That's where clear communication comes in.
Okay.
Everyone understands their roles, their
So
responsibilities.
in the beginning.
Yeah, you set expectations, define what each person will do.
And check in regularly, give feedback.
Yes, make sure everyone's on the same page, Address any problems early.
So you have a plan, but you're also flexible.
Collaboration is dynamic, things change.
Embrace the change.
And see challenges as learning opportunities.
When you have that trust, that shared purpose,
You can face any challenge as a team.
this has been really eye-opening, seeing how self-directed and collaborative learning work together.
It's a powerful combination.
And our source mentions some research from ni.edu.sg
Oh, yeah.
that sheds light on this. What did they find?
So they found that while being self-directed is super important, collaboration can actually make you learn faster, gain deeper insights.
Interesting.
Think about it. When you're alone, you're limited by your own knowledge.
Right.
But when you collaborate, you get access to so much more.
A whole network of knowledge.
Yeah, and that speeds up your progress, expands your understanding.
So the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
That's it. You bring your own strengths.
But you also gain from the group's wisdom
It's a beautiful balance.
between independence and interdependence.
Yeah, you lead your own journey, but you're open to being led in new directions too.
That's a great way to put it.
It's all about that balance. Individual exploration, collective growth.
And that balance can take different forms, right?
Absolutely.
Joining a study group, online forums, conferences.
Even just talking to friends and colleagues with similar interests.
So actively look for ways to collaborate.
Formal and informal.
And it's not just about getting help,
It's about giving help too, sharing what you know.
contributing to the group.
Exactly. Collaboration goes both ways.
This has been such a helpful discussion.
Right?
I'm seeing how I can use these principles in my own learning.
That's great to hear.
Finding that sweet spot between self-directed and collaborative.
It's a journey.
And it's about realizing learning is an adventure, not just a checklist.
That's a great way to think about it.
Embracing the journey and all the possibilities of being a lifelong learner.
That's what it's all about.
I love that, being curious, open, stepping outside your comfort zone.
Never stop asking questions.
Wow, it's like we've been handed this whole new way to think about learning.
I know, right? And it's a way that really puts us in control.
And the best part is, it's for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. No matter who you are, where you come from, what you know.
You can use these ideas to make learning better.
Absolutely.
So let's take a minute, recap what we've covered today.
Sounds good.
We started with self-directed learning. You're the one making the decisions.
Right. What you learn, when you learn, how you learn.
And we talked about how that's different from the traditional way.
Where the teacher's in charge of everything.
But remember, self-directed learning doesn't mean you reject all guidance.
No, it's about knowing what you want to learn.
Yeah, and then actively finding the resources and the support to get there.
Right. You're taking charge.
And then there's collaborative learning
Working together.
and how that can help you understand things better, come up with more creative solutions.
Than if you were just by yourself.
I loved that paper heart activity.
Me too. It's such a great illustration.
It really showed how these two approaches can work together.
So simple, but so effective.
And for anyone who wants to try it, the link to that YouTube video is in the show notes.
Yeah, check it out.
We also talked about the benefits of self-directed learning.
Right, like choosing what interests you.
Learning at your own pace.
Making it fit your life.
And that makes learning more enjoyable.
Definitely. More efficient, more relevant to your goals.
And then those key characteristics.
Of successful learners.
Yeah, ownership of learning.
And management.
Extending learning beyond just formal settings.
Strong group processes, shared accountability.
All of those are so important for a truly empowered learning experience.
It's like building a foundation.
A lot of what we discussed comes down to mindset.
It really does.
It's about seeing learning as this ongoing adventure.
Not just another task to complete.
And this deep dive, it's really just the beginning.
That's a spark.
To ignite that curiosity and get you to take control of your own learning.
Exactly.
So here's something to think about. How can you use these ideas, these principles,
Of self-directed and collaborative learning.
in your own life?
It's a good question.
Think about what you want to achieve,
What you're passionate about.
where you want to grow.
Whether it's your career, a hobby, just expanding your knowledge.
These approaches can really help.
Make learning more meaningful, more rewarding.
There are so many opportunities out there.
Online courses, workshops, meetups.
Conferences, books, articles, podcasts.
Find what excites you and dive in.
And you don't have to do it alone.
Connect with others, find mentors,
Join online communities.
build your own learning network.
Your learning adventure is out there.
Go for it.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning.